everybody. Welcome to my quiet place, which is my room in the house where I like to do my videos from and just generally sit and relax. Hi, I'm Terry from the Creative Bush Homestead. Well, it's been a while and I have been pretty busy. In fact, the circular knitting machine has really been getting the work out. I've made quite a few beanies, and the dog's just gone off its head. I do not know what it's barking at, but that's what you get around here. Any noise and the dog starts barking. But it always seems to be when I'm filming. And then I lose my train of thought and I think, oh gosh, where is it going to go from here? How many more noises? Oh, he's in here now. So, Bear, do you want to say hello? Come here. You can come up here and say hello. No? You don't want to say hello? Come on. Seeing you're going to make a bit of a noise and have a bit of introduction. This is my Bear. He's a lovely boy. We adopted him, if I didn't mention that in the last video that I presented him to the camera. He is 6 years old, as far as we know, and he was brought up with children, but unfortunately the family had to move somewhere where they couldn't have a dog. And we were just so delighted to have him. Apart from the occasional barking and the licking, because he loves his mama, don't you, sweetheart? You fitted in really well. He's travelled around Australia with us. Okay, down you get then. He's travelled around Australia with us in the van. And he was amazing. We had a very small poodle. It actually was a tiny poodle, champagne colour. She was probably not much bigger than this. And her name was Bella. And she suffered from separation anxiety. So we had a lot of problems in the van, not being able to leave her. I always got stuck in the car while Glenn went shopping, and sometimes it was just really annoying. But she was a brilliant dog. She was the love of our life until Bear came along, and she passed at 11, and she passed in my arms, which was very sad, but it was lovely to know that I was holding her and loving her as she passed over. And I think we've all had animals that have been special and important in our lives that have passed, and you know, you never ever forget them. They've always been part of your life. They've always, you know, been there to give you company and love, because let's face it, a dog is very much unconditional love, as are cats. And we have had cats. Oh yes, we've had cats, but I'm glad to say we don't have cats anymore, because we became very concerned with one of our cats who actually loved the wildlife around here, and you just didn't know what she was going to bring in and deposit. So as much as she was a lovely cat, she really wasn't kind to the wildlife, and unless you're prepared to, you know, have a full enclosure where they can't get out and disturb the wildlife around your area, I think it's best not to have a cat. So when that cat left home with our number 4, because it was her cat, we found we got a lot of wildlife came back. In fact, we got blue fairy wrens, there were more goannas, more mice in the house, because one thing Paviel was good at was catching mice, but you know, you can't have everything. So I think I enjoy having the wildlife around more than I did having Paviel and worrying about what she was going to bring into the house, because she had a tendency sometimes to bring a snake in. Now, I don't mind snakes. I'll let them be. But one thing I don't like is them in the house, because I find that they can get into places where you just can't find them, and you never know when they're going to come out. I have had a couple of snakes in the house. Glenn is terrified of snakes. Even goannas, as much as he loves the bobtails, if they're in the house, he will not go near them. So subsequently, me being an outer suburbs girl, which was basically bush when I grew up in Ashfield, which was part of the Bassendean Shire in Western Australia, near the river, I was very used to wildlife. So if there was a snake in the house, Glenn would let me know. He'd hide behind the door, and the best thing that I found to unfortunately kill a snake was a T-square, which my mother used to use for drafting out patterns when she made clothes for us sometimes. So that came in really handy. So I have disposed of a few snakes while Glenn directed me to where they were. And yeah, so the T-square's been pretty good. Goannas, they're fairly easy for me to replace. We're off again. I think just recently, I don't know what it is with Bear, but it's just any sort of noise seems to set him off, whereas before he didn't seem to worry about it so much. But I'll get to the bottom of that one way or the other, hopefully. Excuse me, I am on the video and you're being very noisy. So could you be quiet, please? I don't know if that'll work, but give it a try. He's actually lying down at my feet at the moment. Getting back to my busy time with the circular knitting machine. So basically, I've been knitting a lot of beanies. Now, my girlfriend Catherine, who I do crafts with occasionally when she's not busy working, I thought, well, she's doing a market stall in May, and we have a pretty big event in Gingin called the British Car Day. Now, basically, it's where a lot of old British cars all drive up from wherever and just place their cars around a big area, and people bring picnic baskets, and there's, you know, stalls, and it's a bit of a fair. Eateries, you know, like different vans for different foods. It's quite a lovely day. Normally the first week in May is fairly nice weather, so it makes for a lovely day out. Unfortunately, I won't be here because Glenn and I are off to Europe to visit our son, who we haven't seen for 8 years, and meet our grandchildren, who we've never met. We've spoken to them on Zoom, but they're quite shy when it comes to the camera because they don't have television, they don't have a computer. Well, not for them anyway. Their father has a computer for his schoolwork. That's another thing. But yeah, so that should be very exciting. It's going to be 10 weeks. We're not actually staying in Germany, but we will stay there for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to travel Europe and the UK. Anyway, how I digress, as my son Evan, who is in Germany, would call it, I segue a lot. So please be patient. Okay, so basically back to the circular knitting machine. So I designed these beanies that actually are single layered because in Western Australia, it doesn't really get cold enough to have double thickness beanies. So I thought to myself, I'd like to be able to brand them and, you know, have something to keep the roll on the head, you know, where a brim normally is. It's just rolled up so that you can adjust the height or the length of the beanie for whatever age or how you like it. And I thought, okay, so I got some grosgrain ribbon and I got to work on my Cricut. I actually used my Cricut Joy. They're a electronic cutting machine if you don't know what a Cricut is. And I designed a little logo and I called them beanies. So I actually have a B and then I have NEEZ. so they're B knees, and put a stud in them so that it actually goes through the single layer of wool and stops the brim from falling down so that you can adjust it. So I was quite pleased with them. So I think I've cranked out because that's basically what you do, is crank out, because you're cranking away on the circular knitting machine. I think I've done 10 of them, and I've done a few reversible ones. Catherine received her Addy 22 needle today, which she left for me to have an experiment with, and I will try to do some ear warmers or, you know, like headbands with them and see how they go on it. And yeah, so that's what I'll basically be looking at on the weekend to do. I really should be doing a lot more cleaning. I managed to clean up a lot of the dust in the house after Glenn finished the laundry, and he did finish the laundry 2 weeks ago, and I actually meant to put a video up because he has done such an amazing job. But I've had so much washing and, you know, different things that you do in the laundry, and I haven't actually made the pelmet that goes in the laundry. It was not really a pelmet, it's just sort of, you know, a long rod with the spring ends that I'll put a lovely curtain on, but it'll only be like a, you know, not full of the window, just flounce, a flounce maybe. And that actually matches what is in the door panels that we have on our linen closet, which I don't use for linen because I didn't like the idea, and I never liked the idea of putting linen where you keep your vacuum cleaners and your mops and, you know, all the things that go for cleaning a house. So when he finished the main part of the laundry, that was the tiling, I got him to put up 2 lots of cupboards, overhead cupboards, I think you call them. So I actually use them for my linen, and I'm quite happy to put them in there because they're away from vacuum cleaners and such like. Anyway, so I will try and get on with that flounce, which is the name for it now, I know. And I will take a video and show you, because he's just amazing. I mean, he's finished doing the inside of the house now. We actually did have a rather large caravan. It was 23 foot long, and I used to call it the penthouse on wheels because it was just beautiful and amazing. And we decided to sell it because Glenn just felt that the car we drove to pull the caravan didn't really have enough pulling power for that size van. I think it did, but Glenn wasn't happy, and I thought, well, what's an ensuite? You know, okay, we'll go for something without an ensuite. And so we sold that van, as I said, and we bought a second-hand, smaller van. It's only 18 foot, and he is ripping up vinyl off the floor to replace it. He's made a smaller table for the area. Oh, he'll do lots of things in there. He just never stops. So at least he's happy to have something to do, and I don't have to put up with any more dust or the noise that I get from him cutting the tiles, which can be quite grating. But anyway, that's that done. That's what Glenn's up to at the moment. Oh, I don't know. The days, it's actually 2 weeks to this day that we leave for Europe. And I had been very apprehensive about going. I actually had to, well, I guess, would you call it talk myself down, because I became so anxious about the trip and how long it was going to be. And Glenn's such a fly by the seat of your pants sort of guy that you just never know where you're going or what you're doing. We don't book. Never have booked. I remember we went to Tasmania once and we just got into a hotel after getting off the plane because Glenn didn't book. And I remember saying to the lady, woman who travels with husband that does not book ahead must make sure she has a pre-planned, paid for burial plot. Well, it's just as well I'm getting cremated. So I don't have to worry about him not having booked a burial plot for me. Anyway, that's another story. And so, yeah, it's going to be a long trip. I'm hoping that I can actually take my needles, well, knitting needles on the plane that I reduced in size so they didn't look so much like skewers, because I really need to do something on that plane. I'll take a crochet hook with me too, just in case I can't. And I may take some beanies to do some duplicate stitch on. I don't know. I've started putting things in the suitcases, but haven't actually packed a lot yet. So, and the suitcases the most the suitcases should weigh is 23 kilos, and I'm pretty sure that you have a 32 kilo limit per suitcase when you're travelling overseas per person. I won't be quoted on that, but you just don't know, do you? It's starting to look a little bit like autumn here. It's actually quite grey at the moment, and it looks like, if I look out the window, there's a bit of a blowy wind, and it looks like rain, and it feels a bit muggy, though I don't know if it's going to rain. But definitely we'll be taking some warmer gear when we go, even though it's going to be summer. Well, basically spring, because we're leaving, it will be spring. So Glenn says it still can be pretty cool in Europe and the UK. So I actually not only made beanies on the circular knitting machine, I've made 2 cardigans. Now, I haven't actually finished putting them together, but I was so impressed because it would normally take me months if it doesn't become a, unfinished object, which would hide away in a cupboard for about years and get moth-eaten before I had a chance to wear it. So yeah, I'm going to put all those together, and in the next video I'll have to have a little show and tell so that you can see. One is very, very bright. It's made up a lot of harlequin colours or rainbow colours. In fact, I showed Tiffany, my number 4, the earring girl, the actual panels before I put them together, and she goes, "Mum, it looks like a pride cardigan." Oh, that's good, considering I have a gay brother who has a husband. That's very apt. Maybe they'd like me to make them one. We won't go down that road. I have enough problems finishing what I start, let alone starting to make things for others. But yeah, so we'll have the rolled brim hats for Catherine to take to her market stall on British Car Day, and I'm doing a couple of reversible ones, which will be done in the pride colours, I guess you could say. And also I was looking at a pattern for market bags, which doesn't look too hard to do on the circular knitting machine. So I may have a bit to show and tell the next time I do a sit and chat. I have a lot of cotton, as in, cotton ply that you could crochet with or knit with or whatever. So I'll give that a go. That looks quite good. And it'll be interesting to see what sells and what doesn't when I get back from Europe. I have actually made a couple of beanies for myself to take. I made them singular with the rolled brim because I get very overheated in the head. Not that I'm a hothead. I don't think I'm a hothead, but I do tend to get, because my hair is quite fine, but it as it gets longer, it gets very curly, and it is like wearing a woolly cap. I will get my earring girl, Tiffany, who's also a hairdresser, to give me a bit of a trim up before we leave. So I shouldn't have too much hair to put underneath this beanie. And hopefully I'll have my cardigans finished, because they're like a bomber style. I don't know if you know what a bomber jacket is, but it stops more mid-waist rather than a longer one. So I've got some really nice dungarees that have like a culotte leg that I really love wearing. So I think they'd look great with either a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt underneath, depending on the weather. So there's not a lot more to tell you, but occasionally, if I don't have anything to show or show you how to do something that I'm doing, I will have a little sit and chat, because it can get a bit lonely here, and it makes me feel like I've got some company when I'm having a bit of a sit and chat. So if you like my videos, could you please give them a thumbs up? And I'd love you to subscribe, because, you know, it's really nice to have subscribers. Just makes me feel like I've got a few more friends. And also don't forget the notification bell, because I'm not very regular at doing videos, but, you know, I'd hate for you to miss one, even though you could catch up with them later. I hope to be doing some short ones when we're travelling Europe and let you know what's happening. But I hope all your days are filled with happiness, and I will see you in the next video. And hasn't Bear been good? He hasn't barked again. He's actually gone to sleep, so that's great. Okay, bye for now.